up to make sure the audio is working and you can hear the words that are coming out of my mouth so that we can test the sound, and it is working. Yay. All right. And
Eric, was yours the cat chewing on my toes song?
Yeah.
Toes song. Oh, I heard that. Yeah, that was funny.
Thanks.
Yeah, that was cute.
All right.
Yeah, I got my cat.
He's probably ready to bite you now.
Yeah.
If need be.
All right, recording in 3, 2, 1.
Recorded live on DementiaRadio.org, it's the Funny Music Podcast, brought to you by FuMP.com, where you can download new free comedy songs twice a week. Now, here's your hosts, Devo Spice and the great Luke Ski.
Hey, Devo Spice!
Hey, Luke Ski!
We got Burblesbelly in the house.
Burblesbelly.
And Kurplunk!
And Kurt Kirton of Kurplunk. Welcome, guys.
Sorry.
Thanks for having me.
This is the most onomatopoeic episode ever.
It is.
I think you get 2 bonus points for using onomatopoeia.
That's right.
Well, I went to college for some reason.
I love vocabulary.
Words as often as I can.
And Santa.
I should have just titled this episode Burblesbelly and Kurplunk because I like the way that sounds together, you know. But no, the title of this week's episode is Burn Pass. This is episode 737, and your job is to work that title into our conversation somehow. Burn Pass. So we have Eric Arnold and Kurt Kirton. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
And the reason we started late this evening is because I had an online workshop with a casting director, which went very, very long. But it was fun. It was good. It was well worth doing. And it was one of those things where it's like we showed up and then we all went to this little breakout room and we just hung out and bullshitted for a half an hour until I got called in to do my scene. Then I did my scene. He gave me an adjustment. I did the scene again. Then I went back to the breakout room and we bullshitted for like another hour. And then we came back and there was a Q&A session at the end. So it was a lot of just hanging around and doing stuff. But it was cool. It was worth doing. So speaking of doing stuff, let's do this.
Let's get caught up with what Devo and Luke have been up to since last week. Or else Devo, if Luke failed and didn't show up.
Hey, what?
Oh, he's right.
So Luke, how was ComicCon?
It was alright. I managed to burn past all of the booths there in the dealer room by the end of the weekend, so, things went well.
Luke, you're trying to set the record, aren't you?
I'm trying to continue to exist and keep moving forward.
Yes, we all are.
Speaking of which, hey, look, I got posters. Wow, look, it's the Mandalorian and Spy Family, and you kind of can't see it, but it's a Harley Quinn comic book poster. So I have posters on my wall, yay. So now y'all can look at that behind me every week and figure out ways to somehow mock me for having them there or whatever. ComicCon was pretty cool. I did get to do, I don't know if you remember back at WonderCon in March, I did a portfolio review with 3 people from the industry.
Yeah.
One of those 3 people was doing portfolio reviews again, and I managed to get in line and get to see him. And this time around, I was, instead of going over my work, like last time we basically were going through like my flat books, my literal portfolios of my art and the storyboards that I had printed up in spiral bound. And this time I wanted it to be specifically all about my website. Because to me, I've been wanting to find out from other industry professionals, my portfolio, website, am I doing it right? What's good, what's bad, what's wrong? And as I suspected, the primary note was too much, because I realize everyone, wants quality over quantity, but in my brain, I always say that quantity is quality. As Devo knows from years of working with me. So,
yeah. I also get your emails. I'm on your email list. So
Yeah, I haven't been sending those nearly as often. So anyway, the point is that he helped me. He gave me a whole bunch of notes, which are great, to streamline, my portfolio website and get it down to a much sleeker and direct way, to get my stuff across. So I've already taken a bunch of steps to it. If you want to go take a look at the current state of it, it is www.luke.ski. And you can see by looking at it that there's, if anyone's been there before, that there's less stuff there than there used to be. I do need to try to get my Storyboard Pro program fixed so that I can use it to make a bunch of files that are basically like the individual image files of the board, like in a full screenshot size, so that I can have that there as well. So I can have the animatic, that's the video, and then next to it, the file where they can literally with their finger hit the button on the keyboard and go through each individual drawing and see what I did, because that's something that a lot of, or pretty much most storyboard artists have on their website portfolios. And the main person who had been advising me in the past told me I didn't need to have those, but you know what, I want to find other advice, new advice, good advice, better advice. So that's
different
what
advice.
I'm moving on with.
Different advice is always good, especially now.
Yeah. So basically, I spent the past evening hanging out with my girlfriend Kalani at her place because I had a couple days off in a row, and she's starting her new job on Monday. So I went to hang out with her, and I figured, okay, we got some downtime. I had some downtime at her apartment, so I got a bunch of that stuff done. And then I made a list of the stuff I need to get done, so as soon as I'm done with the FuMPCast, I'm going to get to work on that. But going back to ComicCon, it was cool, wandered around, saw... I actually ran into Dave Rossi and Vicky DeVries. That's her... Is it Vicky?
Yeah.
Yeah, Vicky.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I'm bad with names sometimes. Because on Thursday of ComicCon weekend, I missed it, but they did a Weird Al panel... talking about his television-themed songs with some other folks who do Weird Al podcasts and stuff like that. So I knew that they were around. And then me and Kalani actually ran into them. So it was cool to see them and, talk about how much we enjoy the new song Polkamania and things of that nature. Yeah, what else? I went to a party that one of my bosses from my day job was helping throw. It was all apocalypse-themed, and that was neat. I ordered a piece of custom artwork from my friend Brianna, because the last piece of custom artwork from her I decided to take down and put away for a while. So I had her do a new piece, which is her version of my original characters, Deanne and Darius. So once I get that back from her, I'll frame that and hang that up so I can look at it whenever I want. Because,
nice.
I'm not going to ruin my own characters for myself. What else? I ordered a costume piece that I will not tell anyone what it is, because it will be a reveal when I use it on stage at some point, presumably at FuMPFest, but we'll see. And now there's a cat. Hi, Hubert. Lay down, buddy.
That was great. It's just giant cat eye right in the middle of the camera.
That should be the preview image for this episode.
Okay, I can do that.
Picked up a few Copic markers, picked up a couple of cool T-shirts, and I picked up the Transformers the Movie 86 Studio Series of the Autobot Ratchet, which I hadn't had yet.
Ooh,
so
nice.
They put out, or they had on display there. It's not released yet, but they had on display there. They're finally putting out the Optimus Prime from that series. So it's like, yes. And I found out that apparently Ultra Magnus was released, but I guess everyone just bought them up right away, so I'll have to hunt them down on eBay or some other site and probably have to pay way more than I should to get it. But whatever, I'll deal with that later. For right now, I just wanted to get through the weekend and survive. So I just had fun hanging out with Kalani, and Santana was there for a bit of it too. She's finally back in town for at least a little while. I think she said she was heading back east on the 7th. So by the next FuMPCast, she might be gone. like my roommate is a Sasquatch. I just have fuzzy footage of my roommate occasionally existing in my apartment when she's not off, doing things with her family that they need help with, or other cool things with her friends in Florida. Anyway, sorry I missed the show last week because I really wanted to be on for the Steve Goody and Chuck song, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah, we got Chuck on live last week as a special guest.
Yeah, so hi Chuck.
Able to be on because I know he's on tour in like Ireland or something.
Yeah, he's. I don't think he has any songs coming up, but because he's in Edinburgh right now.
Oh, and if you haven't seen it yet, Deadpool and Wolverine is awesome.
I'm planning to at some point. A couple of my old coworkers want me to go with them.
So what have you been up to?
Well, I had a callback the other day, which is I don't know if it's my first callback, but it's the first one in a while. If it's not my first entirely. It was for a superhero called Pizza Man, which I figured if there was ever a role I was born to play. So I had to go into New York City on Sunday and go down to NYU and meet the guys, and I did the scenes, and I thought it went really well. I found out today I did not get the role. Oh well, what are you gonna do? And then the other day, somebody on Reddit made a polka medley, Weird Al style, of Beatles songs, and posted it to Reddit, and it's really good. And I commented, I'm like, hey, back in the day, I did a hip-hop polka medley. And he's like, oh, do you have that online anywhere? And I'm like, I couldn't remember. Turns out I did. But I was like, I wonder how hard it would be to just hack together a video of that. So I got out my copy of the House Party Polka, which I did in 1996. As originally it was a submission for the Prosthetic Lips Weird Al tribute album. And they rejected it because it wasn't a Weird Al cover nor a song about Weird Al. It was just a Weird Al inspired polka medley. And I was like, yeah, but it's a Weird Al album. What's a Weird Al album without a Weird Al polka medley? Whatever. So the song was like largely unreleased. It showed up a couple places, but so I got footage from the original songs that I turned into a polka, sped them up to match, my music, and hacked it together and put it up on YouTube. So you can watch that video now on my YouTube channel at Devo Spice. And I'm really happy with it. I'm not expecting anything to come of it because it's a 28-year-old song at this point, and it was recorded with a crappy 4-track using an even crappier keyboard. Although it does have a real accordion on it. I borrowed my friend Steve, his father, who I never met because his father passed away the year before I met Steve. But Steve's father used to give accordion lessons. So his house was just filthy with accordions. They were everywhere. He had a room just full of accordions. So when I decided to do this polka medley, I was like, hey, can I borrow one of those accordions? And he's like, do you know how to play? And I went, no, but I'll try. And I was able to figure out, enough, but I only used the keyboard part. The wall of buttons terrified me. I had no idea what I was looking at. And this was 96. There was not a lot of info online at that point about how to play accordion. So I got through it. But if you go to youtube.com/DevoSpice, you can see my video for the House Party Polka. So that was fun.
Yay! I remember when you were doing the Rhythms from the Crypt 2 CD set, and I'm just like, you better have House Party Polka on there.
It is, yes. Which means it is up on Spotify.
Yeah. And it wasn't at some point you were going to put out a preliminary track list, and so many fans were like, well, wait, what about this? What about this? That you finally had to just do like a fan poll to find out what songs the fans wanted. Yeah,
that's what I did. And I also ended up doing a volume 3 of that was a Kickstarter exclusive. So there was a third volume, which I think was just a download. I don't think I ever made a physical copy of it. But that had a lot more rarities and stuff on it. So, all right. So, Kurt, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
What have you been up to?
Just recovering from retina surgery, so that's been entertaining and
that sounds like fun. Really, that sounds like so much fun.
Yeah. So I'll tell you a little bit about Kurplunk. This is our first album. I'm based in Nashville. Eventually, and essentially, like I was saying earlier, it's essentially me and my bandmate in Indiana. So he doesn't burn a pass to Nashville very often because it's several hours to get here. So, and then a female on some songs for the live show. And our first album just released end of June, and the first single as well, the one you've got queued up. And the next 4 are going to release over the next year or so with their remixes. I'm kind of doing an interesting way that I release this album. So I'm kind of keeping the cards close on the next 4 singles. They're not out anywhere.
Okay, cool. All right, looking forward to those. And we'll listen to your song a little bit later in the show. But first, we got to talk to Eric. Hi, Eric.
How you doing?
Welcome back.
Thank you so much. It's awfully nice to see Tom and Kurt. We've met just a second ago. Luke, we hadn't met before. Missed you at the last. I was in about a couple months back, and so just want to say hello to you. And I watched your mashup, your Star Wars Grease.
Yeah, Grease Wars.
I thought that was pretty funny.
Oh, thank you. That was I guess it would take up too much of the show for me to go into the whole backstory of that one, but yeah, it's basically one of my one of my biggest achievements in comedy and in making stuff in general.
Yeah,
and a lot of thanks goes out to Carrie Dalby for being my Princess Leia on that as well. But
she sings really well, and I mean, obviously you had this really cool live performance stuff going on, so it seemed like a pretty big deal. I thought it was. I've written a few parodies in my day, but nothing quite so grand. I mean, that's that was pretty cool.
I still remember where I was when I first heard Grease Wars. It had that kind of impact on me. I was listening to Dementia Radio. I think you premiered it on your show, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think I was. So I was sitting up in my bed at my old house, listening to your show on Dementia Radio, and you played it, and I was just dumbfounded listening to this thing, and I'm like banging my like trying to wake up my wife, and I'm like, you got to hear this. Speaking of got to do things, I got to plug in my laptop, so you guys talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah. I just. There's so many people who would give you advice like, oh, songs need to be short. If you want to make a hit, you have to do this, you have to do that, and everything. And it's like, what if you just make what you want and don't care about the rules? It's like
it's really cool. You had to have at least 20-25 people involved at one point. I mean, it's a pretty big production. I mean, a proper show.
Yeah, and The music video portions of that were filmed at a restaurant. It used to be a chain. Now I think there's only one left. But there was a chain of restaurants called Ed DeBevick's, which was like kind of a 50s diner type place. And the main one was in downtown Chicago. That one was at a mall like in the outskirts of Chicago in Lombard, I believe. And so we just asked, because I knew the people there because I would sometimes show up there to draw caricatures, if I could bring a bunch of friends in with Star Wars costumes so we could film some stuff so it looked like a 50s diner to go with our 50s themed music. And they loved it. And like the patrons there at the restaurant, like they had no idea what was going on, but they thought it was cool. Like there were little kids asking to get pictures with Darth Vader and all this other stuff. So
yeah,
it was a fun afternoon.
That was great.
And then the concert part was filmed, I believe, at MarsCon 2006 because that's where I filmed my DVD concert with Jared Ringgold doing all the filming, and then it all came together so well. And Carrie and I had been performing that at conventions, the whole year, and continued to do so after that. It basically goes back and forth between that song and my Lord of the Rings Eminem parody called "Stealing Like a Hobbit." Like between those two, between the most popular song of mine amongst my fans. So yeah.
Well, I'm dating myself now, but I remember as a kid loving Mad Magazine.
Mm-hmm.
I still remember some of the songs. They did a parody of a musical version of Star Wars when it first came out, and I remember some of that, and so I was kind of fondly recalling that parody when I was listening and watching yours today. But anyway, quite impressive.
Wasn't Ed DeBevick's where you could go to get insulted?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It used to be like right in the downtown part of Chicago, but that building ended up eventually being sold because just the property was way too valuable. So I think the downtown location moved to some other place, and I haven't been to the new place yet, but I know it exists. I know it's open. Sometime when I go back to visit my family in the Midwest, I got to make a specific trip to find the new Ed DeBevics and see if anybody there is, still around from the days when I used to hang out there and draw caricatures. So
Cool. I didn't know it was still open. That's good.
yeah. So, but yeah, it's a fun place if you can get out there, and they got good food.
Very, very cool. And Kurt, you mentioned before about a band or two that you're doing, and you said something about electronic music as well?
Yeah, my other band is called Inevitable, and it's like trance, dance, and electropop. So I've been doing that for, 13 years.
Okay. And this is mostly recorded stuff, or you mentioned doing live shows?
We will occasionally do a live show, usually one per record, because it's a lot to work out and the visuals and all that. But so I'm going to do the same thing with Kurplunk, like at least do one show.
Yeah. And Kurplunk is going to focus on kind of the funny stuff?
Yeah, just comedy stuff. Yeah, just funny stuff.
Very, very cool. Yeah, I enjoyed your song today. Listening to I've got it written down here. We just talked about it. Oh, the Public Restroom Song. Yeah, I don't want to give anything away, but.
Well, yeah, I enjoyed yours. Now, do you have a full album out? Is this kind of from something or?
Nothing quite so grand. I'm making songs on my iPhone. I use the GarageBand app that came on my iPhone, and I record them and I put them on. Although I have to say, I get there's more technology in my phone than there was in the recorders that I had, in high school and college back in the 60s and 70s and 80s. But I record them, make very simple videos, and then put them on a website and perform occasionally here in this little tiny area of Washington State that I live in. And it's just been a sort of a labor of love. I spent 30 years teaching high school history and just retired a couple years ago, got back into playing more music and writing songs. And it's a pretty humble little thing I'm doing. It's nothing quite so grand as that you guys are doing. Even watch the videos and stuff on the FuMP and everything in that production that Luke was just chatting about. Nothing that grand. It's all just fun little ditties about my cats and about the animals on the island. That's about it.
Speaking of fun little ditties about your cats, give us a quick intro to the song and we'll give it a listen and then we'll talk to you about it.
The Toes song, You Bite My Toes?
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, You Bite My Toes is based on a true story. Most of my cat songs are. We got 2 cats a couple years ago. They're brothers. They're pretty strange. Even by cat standards. And we love cats. We've had them all we've been married. I've been married 40 years. We've always had cats. But these guys are like particularly strange. And they'll crawl into the covers. Burble mostly, but Lenny as well. And they'll just start grooming down there and then just attack my feet. So I thought, that sounds like it could be a song. And I wrote a song called You Bite My Toes. So directed to my cat. And in this case, it's really mostly Burble.
All right, here is You Bite My Toes by Burblesbelly.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1. I hear you creeping. It's after 4. There'll be no sleeping anymore. I feel you breathing. You lick my ear. I lift the blanket and you disappear. You start to grooming. I try to doze. Then like every freaking night you freaking bite my freaking toes. You bite my toes. You bite my toes. Why do you always freaking bite my freaking toes? You sink your teeth in, that's how it goes. I can't keep sleeping 'cause you bite my freaking toes. I keep them still, heaven knows. But every freaking night you freaking bite my freaking toes. I give you scritches, I pet your head, I let you take up most of the bed. I don't disturb you, I keep real still. I'm losing REM sleep so you can chill. I rub your belly, I kiss your nose, but every freaking night you freaking bite my freaking toes. You bite my toes, you bite my toes. Why do you always freaking bite my freaking toes? You sink your teeth in, that's how it goes. I can't keep sleeping 'cause you bite my freaking toes. I keep them still, heaven knows. But every freaking night you freaking bite my freaking toes. You're overbearing, I'm overtaxed. I'm more exhausted, you're more relaxed. I tried the guest room, but to my chagrin, you tracked me down and then you followed me in. It's just my life now, I suppose. 'Cause every freaking night you freaking bite my freaking toes. You bite my toes, you bite my toes. Why do you always freaking bite my freaking toes? You sink your teeth in, that's how it goes. I can't keep sleeping 'cause you bite my freaking toes. I keep them still, heaven knows. But every freaking night you freaking bite my freaking toes. You bite my toes, you bite my toes. Why do you always freaking bite my freaking toes? You sink your teeth in, that's how it goes. I can't keep sleeping 'cause you bite my freaking toes. I keep them still, heaven knows. But every freaking night you freaking bite my freaking toes.
So Wildcard in the chat says, my cat has started attacking my feet when I walk by him.
So can you see Burble? That's Burble.
Hi, Burble.
Yeah, he's a strange one. He is, but he's the inspiration for the song. And he's maybe sit still here for a second. But anyway, so yeah,
He looks angry. He doesn't look like he wants to be there.
okay. Two things. He always looks angry, and he kind of always is sort of a little angry. Not quite as angry as his brother Lenny, but they're kind of stormy, and he's just sitting still tonight. But anyway, he was the inspiration, based on a true story. He really does bite my toes. So most of my cat songs are actually based on true facts.
Sounds about right. I imagine it must hurt because those teeth are sharp.
Yeah, and they don't. I think it's kind of playful stuff. But they don't hold back much. I mean, he's woken out of a sound sleep more than once. They're both, he and his brother Len, both kind of nuts.
Did you play the guitar on that?
I did, yeah. That's just a couple of tracks of. I've got a Gibson L7 archtop that I love. I've had for years, and so I play that, and then just tracked it a couple of times. and I think that's it. I don't think I put any kind of bass or percussion in there. So yeah, pretty low tech, but I keep thinking maybe I'll get myself some better program or something. But I'm just a little too old. I mean, the technology thing kind of passed me by, and I just feel kind of helpless, to really figure that kind of stuff out. I'm really impressed when I see you guys and you're putting together these cool videos and all these, cuts and, and all this interesting stuff. And I'm just overwhelmed by the idea of, learning the first thing about that kind of stuff.
Well, I love that you do it all on your phone, just in GarageBand. I think that's great.
Yeah, it's. Listen, I'm having fun. Like I say, I'm a retired teacher. I'm having a good time. But like I say, it's just a really fun thing to do. But I'm really impressed when I go to the FuMP and see other people who are doing some really impressive stuff, and really embracing the technology. And so maybe I'll get there someday.
Will GarageBand Mobile allow you to program too?
The GarageBand that I have, program in the sense of what?
Add some bass, add some shaker, add some percussion.
It allows me to track. Yeah, I call that tracking. That's what. So I can record just the rhythm track and then go back and record a solo over top of that. Go back and record a vocal, and then in this case, I had a second vocal, which was just me singing falsetto on the chorus. I had a 4-track recorder, a Tascam, when I was in high school.
Ooh, so MT100?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think the Tascam model, but it was a little cassette tape thing, and the GarageBand does so much more than that ever did.
Yeah.
And it's way easier to use and everything, but I'm maybe someday I'll get a little bit more sophisticated, but for the time being, don't feel like the simple technology I got is sort of inhibiting me. Maybe if I was doing kind of electronic music or something more sophisticated, I might find that I just need to get something able to kind of capture what's in my head better, but there's not much in my head, so it's pretty easy.
Honestly, a lot of times limiting yourself helps your creativity. One of my professors in college said, like, if you tell a classroom of students to write a 5-page essay about anything they want, they're going to sit there and go, I don't know what I want to write. Whereas if you tell them, you have to write a 5-page essay about your thumbnail, they can do it,
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's something to that. The idea of, not being too carried away with all the possibilities and kind of losing track of kind of the nucleus of what it is you're trying to do. Sometimes I taught school for many, many years, and sometimes, the access to technology became sort of the point in and of itself instead of kind of the theme of the essay or the work that they were working on. I had to tell the kids back off the technology and think about what it is you want to say. Anyway, hey, before I forget, Tom, I wanted to mention, my wife laughed out loud. I was playing Just For You earlier today, and you don't give that away at all. The song starts out, and you don't really know what it's about at all. But when you get to that refrain, she actually laughed. She was sitting across the room. She said, is he singing what I think he's singing?
Excellent, yes. Yeah, I love it. Like the first verse is just a setup, and then the chorus is the punchline. So like that entire first verse, like I remember performing that one of the times I opened for Psycho Stick, and the whole audience was like, "What is this about?" And like the whole first verse, and then I got to the chorus, and like just uproarious laughter, and I saw the bass player from Psycho Stick like fall down off the merch table laughing. So. That made me happy.
And the completely kind of innocuous title, Just For You, which could be anything, could be any kind of song. Anyway, I thought that was well played.
Thank you.
The other thing I want to mention, we talked about it last time we chatted. Was it Action Park that you were talking about in New Jersey?
Yeah.
Because I looked Action Park up. I thought, I don't know how I missed this, but what is it, like 8 deaths or something before it closed down?
6 to 8 deaths, something like that, over the years. Yeah, and it never really closed down. It just changed hands a few times. It's still open. It's just called Mountain Creek now, and all the really dangerous rides have been removed. Some of them are still there, but like they still have the 20-foot cliff jump there you can do if you really want to. But they only allow one person at a time now. When I was in high school, it was kind of a free-for-all, just mobs of people going off the cliff jump. So,
okay. Well, I have to say, you brought it in Pennsylvania. I thought, how could I have missed this? I don't know how I missed this.
I don't know. Oh, you should have been inundated with ads because those Action Park ads were all over television.
Oh, maybe I saw some. We had a lot of Hershey Park ads. I grew up not from Hershey, Pennsylvania, but anyway, I wanted to get back to that because I thought, okay, that really is. You'd mentioned last time that was really kind of an infamous place, so I did a little research. Yeah.
Did you watch the documentary?
No, I haven't seen any. I just read a couple. I think I read like a Wikipedia entry and a couple other things.
There's a documentary on HBO called Class Action Park, which I recommend.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I'll take a look at it.
It's short too. It's less than an hour, I think. So it's
It's nice. That's less than Burn Pass, so I have time for that. Okay. Woo. Wait, thank you for listening to the song. As I listen back to my song, I think should have been a little shorter. I went on a little bit much, but I had a lot to say about Burble.
It's fine. You can never have too much cat stuff.
That's my feeling, anyway.
So, do you have anything you'd like to plug?
Same thing as last time. I just I do, just occasional live shows here on Whidbey Island. So if anybody is coming to Whidbey Island, Washington anytime soon, then look for Burblesbelly because I'm playing around a little bit here. But other than that, I have really, the only thing I do is this YouTube channel, and I've got 50 songs up on my YouTube channel now. Most of them are, a lot of them are kind of, I don't know what you call them, a little funny, a little cute, a lot of animal type songs, some that are a little more serious in nature. But if you go to YouTube and look for Burblesbelly, I'm the only Burblesbelly on YouTube. So.
I can't imagine why.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, but anyway, so that's my plug. Burblesbelly on YouTube.
All right, let's do some news.
This is the FuMP.
Your dog bit me, you think you're the victim? Well, here's my new dictum. You're gonna be sorry, cause I know how to pick 'em. Lawyer up, file that suit. I get big money and your little dog too. And I'm buying one of those.
Just suck your brains out, cause she's a succubus and she's a MILF. Mommy, I wanna get friendly with MILF. Mommy, I wanna get filthy with MILF.
Highfalutin, arrow shooting, hammer swinging punks. Then some doctor says he's moving between universes. What? But I've only been hurt.
That's the Funny Music Project at thefump.com. THEFUMP.com.
Here's a song just to say I hope you have a crappy birthday. It's your birthday. It's your birthday. It's your birthday. It's your birthday. There's a God I will pray for you to have a crappy birthday.
Time for funny music news. Something.
In the news, the Marc with a C documentary, Half Serious, Half Kidding, is now available for rent on Amazon.com. So if you're interested in watching that, you can just search for Marc with a C. That's his name, Marc with a C. It's called Half Serious, Half Kidding because half of his songs are funny and half of them are not. He also says physical copies will be available soon. The Arrogant Worms IndieGoGo is up to $6,591, which is 45% of the way to their $14,459 goal. So if you want to help them put out their new album, go to indiegogo.com and search for the Arrogant Worms. And the FuMP's July newsletter went out last week. We talked about the FuMP Volume 105, some other new releases, videos, and more. If you're not on our mailing list, you can view it online at tiny.cc/FuMP0724 for July of 2024. All right. that's all the news we got. Anything before tour dates?
Not that I can think of.
Alrighty. Steve Goody is not hosting anything at the Bluebird this month because he's in Edinburgh. But Sundays online, we have 2 sleeps. Mondays online, Steve Goody and Brad Tassel at Virtual Comedy Show. I don't know if they're still doing that this month. I'll have to ask. Mondays and Tuesdays online, Bill Larkin. The 1st through 4th in Las Vegas, Nevada, Bonnie Gordon. The 2nd through the 24th in Edinburgh, Scotland, in the UK, Steve Goody. On the 3rd in Santa Cruz, California, Phil Johnson and Roadside Attraction. On the 3rd in Jersey City, New Jersey, Carla Ulbrich. On the 4th on YouTube, Escape from the Secret Lab featuring the Consortium of Genius. On the 7th in Santa Cruz, California, Phil Johnson and Roadside Attraction. On the 9th online, Carla Ulbrich. On the 10th in Clifton, New Jersey, Devo Spice. That's my show opening for Green Jello. I still have 12 tickets left to sell for that show, so if you're in New Jersey area and can help me out, get in touch, please. On the 10th in Memphis, Tennessee, Nuclear Bubble Wrap, and on the 11th in Kennett Square, Pennsylvania, Carla Ulbrich hosting a show. I don't know if she'll be performing at all, but she is hosting it. And birthdays, coming up on the 6th, Jeff Smith of Raymond and Scum. Happy birthday, dude. All right, Kurt, give us a quick intro to this song and we will give it a listen.
So this is our first single from this album, which is called Splashback. Actually, I think this is the song.
That's a beautiful title for an album that has this song on it. Yeah.
Thank you. This is actually the song from whence that came from. I had about 9 or 10 working titles and had some friends vote, and we picked Splashback. So, but as far as the song, it's called the Public Restroom Song. I was just thinking about, there was a top 10 list of, or a top 20 list of things you can do to annoy your public restroom stallmate. And so some of that kind of factored into these lyrics. And I think that kind of inspired this song. Like I was saying earlier before we started recording, originally I was trying to do, for this record, I was trying to do a lot of different genres. Just sample around, do a lot of different genres for each of these songs. And so I was wanting this one to be the Indian music song, but I'm not really experienced in producing an Indian song. And the more refs I pulled up, I was like, I just don't know if I can pull this off right now. And the meter of this lyric was just so far on the floor. I was like, this has got to be like a club song.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, I went the EDM direction instead of the Indian music thing. And as you'll hear in the intro and the overdubs on this thing, I really put AI to use. Shout out to lalals.com. You will hear Justin Bieber on here with me.
All right, here is the Public Restroom Song by Kurplunk.
If necessity is the mother of invention, then eating the wrong stuff on the road is the mother of necessity.
If it's about pee on the seat or not enough GP, then that's this song. You just gotta laugh when it comes to public restrooms, so listen on. Looks like the toilet's gonna overflow, just run away. Raisin bran muffins at breakfast, then Taco Bell for lunch is not the way to start the day when your road trip's far from done. Can't wait anymore, though rather go at home. Better pull over now, but not at Walmart. All I can do as I run is sing the public restroom song. If it's not pee on the seat, it's not enough TV, or none at all. The door won't lock, so maybe one can see me, but that's not all. The floor is sticky and this restroom stinks. I hover while I wonder when they clean this germs begin to gnaw. Can't flush, jiggle the handle, there's no plunger. All I can do as I fret is sing the public restroom song. My pants touch the bowl and my bells grip the floor. Now someone's knocking on the door. I'm not getting any rest in this room. If it's not pee on the seat, it's not enough TV or none at all. The door won't lock so anyone can see me, but that's not all. The floor is sticky and this restroom stinks. I hover while I wonder when they clean this thing. This ain't no place for a germaphobe. Take me away. Only one stall for everyone in Kroger. Are they nuts?
Is that a hole in the divider?
I'm really just trying to hope in peace.
That was my first time seeing the video, because a little behind the scenes for the people listening. When I was setting up the show, I went looking for a video and couldn't find one, so I assumed he didn't have one. And then when we got on, he mentioned one, so I queued it up very quickly before we started, but I didn't have time to watch it. So that was pretty grody in parts. Nicely done. And I really appreciate the use of Critters 2 in there, with the critter coming out of the toilet. Because, as you can see, I have a critter back here.
All right. Yeah, that happened to be part of the toilet compilation I found on YouTube or something.
Oh, okay.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Perfect.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was a lot of fun to work on, and I'm thinking I need another song called Germaphobe or Germophobia or something like that down the road, because I'm a little bit of a germaphobe, which came really in handy during the pandemic.
I can imagine, yeah. I'm not a germaphobe, like, at all, but yeah, public restrooms kind of squick me out. Like, especially like really busy places, you know.
I still remember seeing one, I think it was in northern Alabama or somewhere, that was one of the old school toilets that had the slight arch over from the porcelain with no seat.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, nobody wants to sit on that.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned Walmart at one point, so that brings quite a horrific scene to mind, I think. Did you, if you don't, I'm curious, in terms of the instrumentation and everything, is that all electronic stuff? Was that a drum machine, for instance, or were?
I think all of that was programmed. I don't think there was any real instrumentation in that. There is a lot of real instrumentation in the record because of the different styles, but not that song. And I think I had A$AP Rocky at the end, and AI, and then what was the other thing? Oh, the other thing was take the lady that said, "I'm just trying to poop in peace." I found that on like a YouTube video of like people's animals bothering them in the bathroom or something. And her dogs her huskies, I think, were pestering her. I was like, that's the perfect ending.
Yeah.
And you're the chief vocalist in this?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm writing and producing and singing and AI and like working on the shows and stuff like that, or whatever, what few shows we'll have.
So you're the guy,
yeah,
like me, you're the guy who does most of the work.
Right,
I can
I'm the
relate.
heavy lifter. And then my bandmate, like, he weighs in on songs and helps with theoretical stuff, and he'll help me with lyrics a little bit here and there and ideas, and I'll run drafts and things past him, and he has some input like that. But yeah, it's just easier for me to write than truly co-write. I did that on one song and it was hard. Co-writing is hard.
Yeah, you really got to be on the same page to do a co-writing, and you also kind of have to establish like who gets to make the final decision on lyrics and stuff. Because I've had a couple of projects go south because of that.
But the guy who did the programming and mixing was a guy on Fiverr that a buddy of mine had used to remix one of his artists that he works with songs, and this guy did a great job. It was a little bit of a challenge for him because he knocked it out of the park on the other one I had him do, but this one was I had a lot of musical ideas that I threw at him, and he had to kind of glom together and emulate and kind of weave together. So, but he we got it.
So what did he do? Was it just mixing?
He was programming and mixing.
Oh, programming and mixing. Okay. Yeah, it's harder to tell people what you want as you're programming.
Yeah, unless you're sitting over their shoulder. So all of it in writing it's challenging to produce remotely. But I did the best I could. I think he's in somewhere in Eastern Europe or something like that.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to give him a burn pass.
Kurt, you mentioned that the lyrics had a really strong 4/4 feel. Did you write the lyrics first?
Usually, the way I write is I'll kind of make my notes about what the lyrical content needs to be, and then I'll kind of group them by section of the song, and then I start working on just a melody, just some random, la 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 type melody with some kind of dummy lyrics, and then I'll go back and I'll put like real lyrics in that meter, and then that way that helps me establish kind of rhyme scheme and emphasis and structure and stuff like that. But I try to get the melody essentially first, and then I go back and write lyrics, because I read that's a better way to come up with a hookier song. A good question. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
What about you? Do you write lyrics first or melody first?
Always. I mean, maybe I can count on one hand, maybe 2 songs I've ever written the lyrics first. It's always kind of the changes, and then I'll listen to the changes, and a melody will start to come to me, and maybe a theme, and I'll tell you, I might be able to churn out. I mean, the melody stuff comes much more easily. I can kind of write a passable melody. I mean, none of this is genius stuff or anything, but the songs, I come up with the melody and the changes in an afternoon, but it might take me 2-3 weeks to come up with the words. So it's the words, I struggle way more with the words.
Yeah, the words, you've got to, I understand what you're talking about. The melody's harder for me because I feel so much pressure to write something that's super catchy. And the words are a little easier, but I can see how that could happen, because when you start putting words into a melody, it's all got to fit. And
yeah, absolutely.
The material.
Yeah. It's got the vibe has to match for me. I mean, it takes me sometimes weeks to figure out kind of what the sort of the theme of the song will be. Is it, again, it's but it's always music first and then words. Yeah.
Eric, you want to take over hosting of this show every week, because you ask better questions than I do.
I'm just really, really curious. I mean, you guys fascinate me. I mean, it's just doing all kinds of stuff that I sort of dream of doing, that I'm just sort of dinking around the edges of it, and I'm really curious about the creative process generally. And talking to really creative people is just a great way to kind of get a sense of that, I mean, I'm a real latecomer to this. I've been a musician all my life, but I mean, in terms of really writing songs, again, Tom, you and I talked about this a little bit a couple months ago. Didn't really do much of it till 3-4 years ago, 2 years ago, and then I just felt like maybe I had something to say. Maybe my cats were interesting enough finally to write songs about them, or the wildlife around here was interesting enough.
But, I was going to say, you finally got Burble, and he's your muse, and now you can write songs.
Yeah. There's
your meows.
Yes.
Yeah. my meows. Anyway, so that's what it is. I hope I'm not cutting it too much, but I'm just really super curious when I don't meet a whole lot of really creative, people, and so it's great to kind of tap into this.
So, Kurt, when can we expect to hear Splashback?
Well, the bulk of the songs from the album are out right now on YouTube only, and then singles will happen every 4 months. So we have 4 more of those to go, and then the full album plus 1 bonus track that never released will come out early 2026. Is kind of how that shakes out.
Oh, wow.
But
okay.
The bulk of the album is up now to listen to on YouTube.
Wow, okay. You're really spreading out this release.
Might as well stretch it.
Yeah. I mean, I like that you have a plan for your release, because usually with my release, it's there it is, I just kind of throw it up and hope something happens to it. Like I did with that medley video I put up the other day. No plan. I didn't even plan to do it. I just was like, yeah, okay, I'll do that, and here, have it.
Well, I thought this way it keeps people's attention longer because, wow, there's a new single that wasn't on the block that was released on YouTube. And then it'll also officially release because it'll go through my distributor. And so it'll go out to, iTunes and Spotify and all that kind of stuff. And its remix will go out because each one of these songs that haven't released also have a remix.
Oh,
so
interesting.
I've never done it. I've never released an album this way before. So I thought, well, why not?
So, did you do the remix yourself, or did you hire somebody to do that?
One of them I'm remixing my rap song called Pull Up Your Pants. I'm remixing that myself. I just need to get that tightened up. It's nearly done. And then the other three were done by other guys. A few people I've used in the past, and I think a new guy. So, yeah.
Okay.
They're all dance mixes.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, you said you had a bunch of different styles of music on this album, right?
Right. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, like, what was the reasoning behind that? Because most people like to stick to one style of music.
I might on the next album just for laziness, but I just thought it might be fun to try, mariachi, bluegrass, country, rock, beach rock, dance, pop, jazz, and so I did it.
That's quite an eclectic mix you got there.
So yeah, it was a lot of fun to work on. The Taco Bell song is up there. That's the mariachi one. That's what's it called? Oh, you don't need a laxative. Go get Taco Bell.
In mariachi form, yeah. All right, I got to look that one up. That sounds great.
That's a beautiful visualizer for that one too.
Yeah, and it goes with the theme. Is it like, are all the songs on the album about like restrooms in some way, or is that?
Yeah, some of my friends who aren't very happy about this album were kind of slamming on me for that, but not all of them are about poop and pooping in bathrooms. Maybe half, and then the other half are random things. One of them's called. One of the forthcoming songs is called "Watch Out, Llama Spits," and it's a kind of a sneaky jazz song. And there's another one called Haribo Sugar-Free Gummy Bears and about what they do to your stomach. So it's not too poopy, but a little bit.
I've heard about the sugar-free gummy bears.
Yeah, I read the reviews or whatever, and I was like, oh, that's a song.
Yep, I remember hearing about that. All right, so do you have anything you'd like to plug?
Yes. For anyone listening or watching, please subscribe at YouTube and Instagram. YouTube so we can get monetized, and Instagram so you can kind of follow all the new stuff that's coming out, news and funny posts, things like that. Both of them, and TikTok, are at Kurplunk Music, and that's Kurplunk with a U, like my name, Kurplunk. So Kurplunk Music. And if you want more info on us and the rest of our socials, you can go to kurplunk.lol. Lots more
I
stuff
like
from
that
the album.
I didn't know LOL was a top level thing.
Yeah, apparently it's a new suffix. I found it. My bandmate was like, "Oh my gosh, do that one," because there was 3 I was looking at. But there's lots more songs from the album, like I said, up on YouTube, and some behind the scenes stuff. How some of the songs were made, and how some of the ones that aren't out yet, some of the sound effects that were made. Like I have a cool video about how I drop things into like 5-gallon trash can of water in the shower because I wanted this perfect sploosh for my Beach Boys parody. Things like that are up there. And let's see. Oh, and we do have one live show coming up. Maybe the only one, because these are a lot of work. It'll be me, Steve Goody, my buddy Omni, Mayor Klein, and Bucky Habanero. And that's going to be October 24th at Cobra here in Nashville. So that'll be my album release show. And then Steve didn't want to go last because he didn't want people leaving. So I was like, all right, fine, I'll go last. I was going to put him last, but so I'm actually headlining.
All right, cool.
And yeah, I guess that's about it. I wonder who's doing. I got to thinking about Steve today, and who's doing his Bluebird thing when he's not here. I guess they just got a cardboard cutout and set that up.
Yeah, I would imagine that's probably all they do. Yeah, I have no idea. I've never asked him what happens when he's out of town. I'm sure they're fine. Maybe you can go down and host.
That's right. You should have me do it.
Yeah.
I don't. Is it comedy music that's going on over there? Is it
no, I don't think so. I mean, he does a song or two while he's hosting, I believe, which are usually funny. But I think everyone else is just whatever they're trying to do.
They're just, trying to get discovered, basically.
Yeah. All right, let's do
I'm hoping Steve will do random songs for my thing in October, because I've already seen his current act with the I don't know if you guys have seen his current show, but it's like him and Weird Al and Daniel Radcliffe kind of thing. So.
Oh, have we seen the show?
Yeah.
Like 3 times have we seen the show?
Because I have 2 songs that I want to special request. I want to hear What's in My Hot Dog and Asshole Cats, which if you haven't heard that one, Eric, you might want to look that up.
I will look that one up for sure.
S's or dollar signs, I think.
I did an answer song to What's in My Hot Dog. It's on the FuMP. It's called What's Really in My Hot Dog. So look that up when you have time. All right, let's do some feedback.
Making the internet absolutely ridiculous. Dementia Radio.
www.dementiaradio.org. Port 8027.
Please hang up and try again.
This is the part where there's feedback. Feedback. You know that segment of the show we do about now?
Feedback.
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 Alvarant
wrote, I think you're doing the right thing about Kyle. Everyone at the FuMP supports you. Thank you, Alvarant. Danny D wrote, the arrogant Worms goal on IndieGoGo is so specific because it's converted from 20,000 Canadian dollars. And I cannot believe I didn't realize that. So thank you. And
Draconis alert. Draconis alert. Draconis alert.
Draconis wrote, saw this and thought of you guys. Enjoy it. And then it's a link to an article about the Star Trek Doctor Who crossover that is happening that they announced at ComicCon. Did they talk about that while you were there?
I wasn't at any of those panels. I know there was some kind of friendship across the universe type thingy, but it sounded like I know that in the Doctor Who app game that exists, they're gonna have Mariner and Boimler show up in it or something like that.
Yeah,
so I don't know if it's just that game.
It looks like it's a game that's gonna include Lower Decks and the Doctor, which is awesome. But
see, if they were smart, they would get Robert.
Go ahead.
Hmm?
Go ahead.
If they were smart, they would get Robert Picardo in there from Voyager, because on Voyager, he's the Doctor.
Yes.
So we need the Doctor in the game with the Doctor to get in conversations with the Doctor.
Yeah, I tried downloading, I think it's called Doctor Who Lost in Time. It's one of those mobile games, and it was just boring as hell. I deleted it. So, but I will definitely check this out. And
there's a new...
Oh. No, go ahead. I was just going to move on to the next one. Go
ahead. Just for us, Star Trek nerds out there. So there's a new Star Trek series coming out, and I'm not sure exactly when. It's going into production, called Starfleet Academy, and in a questionable move, they're setting it in for those of you who haven't watched Star Trek Discovery, at halfway through the series, they jump 900 years into the future of the Prime Universe timeline. So, I mean, I don't want to be a Discovery hater, but or anything, but I always thought that was a weird, questionable thing for them to do, because but we still want stuff that takes place, back in the whatever it is, 2400s. We still want stuff from that era of Star Trek, like the Picard show and Lower Decks and Prodigy, etc. So if you're having this stuff in the future, it kind of means that, like, it's just weird, like, if some universe-ending stakes are happening in one of the shows from the 2400s, it's like, we kind of know the universe is going to get saved because they exist later. It just, do you see what I mean? Anyway.
Yeah.
So the point is, because of this, taking some of the good aspects of things about Discovery and trying to adapt that into, they're going to restart Starfleet Academy in this far-off future. So the people from Discovery, they got three cast members from Discovery, technically at least, but there's the two I care about are, I believe her name is Mary Wiseman, who played Tilly, and friggin' Tig Notaro are going to be on the Star Trek Starfleet Academy show. It's like, yes, the two best characters, yes! And then on top of that, because, the holographic doctor from Voyager is just, software. He's a program. So they're going to basically, I guess, open a drawer and say, oh, look, we forgot about this thing, and turn him on. So Robert Picardo is also going to be on the show playing the Doctor,
nice.
900 years later. So it's like, yes! Like, the best character from Voyager and the two best characters from Discovery. It's like, oh, okay, fine, you got me. You had me at Tig Notaro, but then you had to keep giving me more stuff that I like. Star Trek, dang it. Now give me 7 more seasons of Lower Decks and we'll call it fine.
Yeah. I would love that.
Yeah.
All right. Over on YouTube, we got some more comments. A-Log!
Oh my god, it's you, not again!
A-Log wrote, great to see Chuck getting all the praise she deserves, and here's hoping I'll ask for a commission for some artwork for my own soon. And... Dizman of Dead by 28 writes, I was so inspired by Steve and Chuck's superhero theme, I had to write my own. Next time I'm on the show, remind me to do the Diz 2C. Thank you, Dizman.
So, I like it. However, I think we kind of need a time limit on these intros.
Yeah, it is a little long. It's 20 seconds long, which isn't really all that long, but considering, like, all the other ones are like 2 to 3 seconds, we should probably trim it down.
Like 4 measures would have been enough. But he had to go the full 16. Okay, yeah. Fine.
I'll come up with a short version I can use if he keeps posting a lot of comments, and then I'll just play the long version once in a while. We'll do that.
Okay.
All right. So that's it for the feedback.
Teasing. He's a teasing kind of guy. Now you have a job.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's song is by Mikey Mason. Haven't heard from him in a while.
Woohoo!
And Tuesday's song is by a new artist. So you got to wait around and see who that is.
By the way, Art Paul Schlosser has a song in the demo trench that I gave an A rating.
Okay. I haven't heard it yet.
Anyone else will give it an A rating, but I'm giving it an A rating. For the record, Mr. Chairman, here in this Congress of Comedy Music, I give a vote of confidence to Art Paul Schlosser's song currently in the demo trench.
Okay. All right. I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet. I saw it come through, but I haven't had a chance to listen. But, all right. So, I need a topic for this week's Spotify playlist. You guys got any suggestions? Something I can make roughly a 30-minute playlist out of roughly 10 songs.
How many times have we already done the topic of cats?
You know what? Let me find out, because I can tell you.
Poop songs!
Poop songs I can do. I don't think I've done that one yet. But let's see.
While you're thinking, I've got to ask Eric, since you're in Washington State, how do you have that much brilliant sunlight still coming in at 8:04 or whatever p.m. or whatever your time?
Well, it's coming directly in from the west, so that window there is catching the best light that you're going to get at this time of the year. But it stays pretty dark. We're up pretty far. I'm about 50 miles north of Seattle.
I was going to say you got a lot of strong light at this hour.
Yeah, well, so the summertime, summer days can last really long. I mean, it's light enough to throw a frisbee around at 10 o'clock, in July. So yeah, but that's due west right there. So it's the western light that's just now beginning to set, and it's really nice. I mean, the winters, of course, work the exact opposite, and it's pitch black dark at 4:30. But
it's a good burn pass at this hour.
Yes. So that's what you're seeing.
All right. So for the record, we've done cats only once, and we've done poop humor only once. So we can do either or both of them. So
we should flip a coin.
Well, you know what? We did poop humor in 2022 and cats in 2021. So let's do cats again because there's probably more new songs about that.
Well, include the song Cat Box by the Four Postmen, so there's a cat poop reference.
Okay.
Or at least implication.
I do have some cat songs planned for the future, at least one.
Okay.
Oh, I've got a dozen cat songs ready to go.
I'm sure you do.
One of the cat songs doesn't mention poop, but it does mention the fact that my cat Lenny has pretty bad aim, and sometimes he pees on the floor.
All right.
So,
I was once commissioned to write the title song for a musical called Sex Kittens from Mars. And I did it.
And that's going on the playlist. So. All right. So, Eric, plug yourself one more time.
Burblesbelly on YouTube. Check out the songs, about 50 songs on there. That's my plug.
All right, Kurt, plug yourself one more time.
Kurplunk Music at YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Kurplunk with a U. Yeah, and the show, the big show with Steve Goody and everybody, October 24th at Cobra here in Nashville.
All right, let's get out of here. Thank you for listening to the Funny Music Podcast. I'm Devo Spice.
I'm Luke Ski, and look, there's Burblesbelly! And Kurplunk!
Thank you for listening to the Funny Music Podcast. You can listen live every Thursday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific at DementiaRadio.org and join us in the chat. Or subscribe to the podcast feed. Look us up on iTunes and be sure to leave us a review. Feedback for the show can be sent to info@thefump.com. The Funny Music Podcast is a production of Fidem Interactive, LLC, released under a Creative Commons share-alike license. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, shout it to random people on the street, and be sure to visit thefump.com for the latest funny songs. Tune in next week where you'll hear Luke Ski say,
Burblesbelly, Kurplunk, Macadamia, Gazebo!